Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to interview Alex Johnston, Assistant Program Director at the University of Virginia's branch of College Advising Corps. Today, we're speaking about how to get grants for college. Alex, thanks so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me, Jackson.
So there are so many terms to keep track of. So to start off, can you explain what a grant is and what different types of grants are available to students?
Yes, absolutely. There are a ton of different terms and it can be confusing. But when you hear grants, I want you to think free money. That's money that is going to be given to you that you do not have to pay back. There are two different kinds of buckets of financial aid that are considered free money, and that's grants and scholarships. Grants are a little bit different because oftentimes they're funded through the federal government or the state government, and those funds are allocated directly to colleges and universities, who are the ones that are responsible for dispersing the funds directly to students. There are a few different types of grants out there. Oftentimes, the grants that a student can get are based off of need. So they're considered need-based grants, and that is just based off of what a student and their family is able to demonstrate as their financial need. There are also some merit-based grants out there, and even some grants that are specific to programs of study for students.
So let's pretend that I'm a college-bound high school senior. What should I do right now to secure the most grant money that I possibly can?
Yeah, my favorite kinds of people. Your world is wide. There's a lot out there, right? The best thing that you can do, the most important thing that you can do is apply for the free application for federal student aid, which is called the FAFSA, something that many high school students have heard of. But the FAFSA is an acronym and it stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. So it's a very extensive application that asks about a student's income, their family's income, assets, kind of just the financial landscape of what the family has going on as it relates to their finances. That information is then provided to colleges and universities, who then decide for themselves how much money they can allocate to each student. So it's really the primary application, the best way to get these federal and state funded grants.
Great. So the FAFSA unfortunately uses tax returns from 2 years ago. So if students and their families have experienced some sort of significant change in income, how and where can they voice that?
Yeah, it's so true. And I think that unfortunately, since the FAFSA has not caught up to the pandemic and the crisis that we're all experiencing, it's not the way that you're able to express that really, really important information. So with that, still fill out the FAFSA. Do it with the 2019 taxes, just like you're asked, and then immediately follow up with the financial aid offices at any college or university that you're applying to. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of legwork, but it's really necessary so that they best understand the situation that you and your family have, whether it's loss of wages, loss of even maybe a family member, unfortunately, they need to know that information. And so when you call each of the colleges that you're applying to, let them know your experience, let them know what's going on now. And they may have a process by which you can submit documentation or any further explanation, but whatever they need, they're going to tell you directly so that they can provide the most financial aid that they possibly can based off of your current situation. So that's a great question.
Great. So I know that securing grants can just be a confusing process overall. So if students have any questions, who should they reach out to for help?
So I'll say that there are people, specifically if you're a high school student in your high school building, that if they cannot help directly, that they can at least point you in the right direction. I'm an assistant director with the College Advising Corps, which means that we have college advisors that work in high schools. If you happen to be privileged to have a college advisor or even another college access professional in your school building, reach out to them. They are trained, they are ready to help you navigate this entire experience alongside you and your family, because your family has to be a part of this financial aid experience in general. If it's not a college access professional, reach out to your high school counselor. Again, they're kind of tasked with helping you figure out what you're going to do after high school. They might not know all the technical answers, but they're going to try and find those answers for you, or again, point you in the right direction. If you would like, you can also, of course, reach out to the financial aid office of the school that you intend to enroll in. Those financial aid representatives are remarkable and really willing to help answer any of those questions. And in some cases, it might be the best person to talk to because they're going to be talking about their specific school and what they can offer a student directly.
Great. So my last question for you is, are grants taxable? Will students ever have to pay taxes on their grants?
That's a really good question. And I must say, I'm not a tax expert, I'm not a tax advisor. So it's all really dependent on individual student and their family situation. Most of the times, no. This is not going to be considered taxable income, but it varies depending on what grant it is and depending on if you are within a certain different kinds of requirements. So, for instance, you have to be enrolled in a degree program at your college or university. In some cases, you have to maintain a certain GPA. And in those cases, if you falter in some kind of way, it's possible that either you would have to repay the grant or that it would be considered taxable income if the grant isn't directly being paid for a direct cost, such as tuition, fees, or maybe even books or resources that you need to go to college. So my experience is generally no, but in some cases, yes. And that's a really, really great question to ask your financial aid representative.
Great. Well, thanks again, Alex, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Jackson.
If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And for more interviews like this, please subscribe. Have a great day, everyone.